All right, we have begun. Hello, everyone. This is Venom, and we are back again this week for the third Destiny Into the Light stream reaction. I'm, of course, joined by Hex. Hello, Hex.
Hey, how's it going? How's it going?
You're doing. Hex, of course, is the proud owner of the largest collection of Victorian military aids in the North American hemisphere, so that's pretty fun. That is quite a collection here you got.
Can confirm.
Do not touch them ungloved. Do not touch them with your bare hands. Alright, so the third stream, I got my thoughts on it. Before I get all mopey, what do you think?
It was fine, I'll be honest. It's not really like... we kind of predicted this last week, that this was going to happen, that these were going to be the star players, if they wanted to, the star activities that they were going to bring back. Other than that, I mean, call me cautiously optimistic about something that will be discussed as this discussion goes through. But at the point, cautiously optimistic, which is basically the MO of anybody who still has hope for Destiny.
Yep, that was a cool announcement, but yeah, you're right. We said let's get to the basics. So this week it was let's start from the beginning. Of course, from the beginning they talked about the very first thing they talked about was the new activity we're going to be doing. Of course, that was week 1. It was kind of underwhelming, but it's basically going to be a defense mission. They're calling it horde mode. I call it a defense mission. It is what it is. Week 2 was all about the weapons, and everybody loved the weapons until, and this is something that happened after you and I did the reaction. It happened after the live stream. Bungie did a big old oopsie. So let me just...
Bungie did a Bungie? You mean Bungie went full Bungie?
Bungie did a Bungie. So... we were really excited because there are going to be 12 weapons returning. It's going to be the Brave Arsenal. And then Bungie went and did what Bungie always did. They ended up fucking it up. So it turned out that they were only going to initially release 6 of these weapons, and they were going to time gate the rest of them. Now, this was a bitch for a couple of reasons. One, because we're tired of gates, period. We're tired of time gates and health gates. I hate those. I hate health gates from bosses. I hate time gates out of them. And loot gates. Now... this is also another big issue because, of course, we're going to be getting these special versions of the weapons that will be able to drop. They're going to be that special gold version that have the additional perks and that have that unique shaders on them. With the timed weapons, or the weapons being time-gated, we had less time to farm for those weapons. Now, I don't know about everybody else, but I don't have time to do that. I've got a kid coming in a couple weeks. I'm not going to have time to sit there and play like that every week, to try to grind out the new weapons. I want to just go ahead and play everything from the beginning. And the community was also with me. The only other time I've seen Bungie freak out this quickly was when they had to put together that PvP strike team. I have not seen them respond so quickly and so completely in a long time. That was impressive. Now, I'm still upset because it's still technically time-gated. They just sped up the time frame. They're basically releasing all the weapons on April 30th. So originally it was just going to be the 6th. Now they're all going to be coming out on the 30th. So we're going to get that initial 6. And then the other 6 are going to be coming out on the 30th. But holy shit. I mean, I just happened to log on and I saw that, time-gating was a thing. And then that same day I found out that they were time-gating it, they had already pretty much come out and said, no, we're not doing this anymore. Everyone is freaking out.
We will meet you in the middle and time-gated less.
Yeah. So that was pretty crazy. So that happened earlier on in the week. I mean, that happened like days after the stream, just a couple days. That was a very quick turnaround. And I'm glad it's not time-gated as bad anymore. It's still time-gated because, again, 30th is when it's going to come out. I'm not going to be able to play them because I'm going to be taking care of my son when he gets there. So taking care of my son and my wife. Yeah, thank you very much. So, that being said, last week was all about the weapons. The weapons that are coming in, almost all, I should say, fan favorites. Especially things like the Recluse, the Mountaintop, and the Luna's Howl. They did, of course, come out and say that they didn't know when to bring out Not Forgotten. They had announced they were going to originally bring out Not Forgotten, and then they kind of put some small text on their site saying we're going to push that back. It didn't make sense to release it and, Luna's Howl at the same time, which I get. It doesn't make sense.
They did mention briefly that there's talk of bringing Not Forgotten, but as a comp reward. Like you play your 3 weekly games of comp, and you get your guaranteed random rolled not forgotten.
Yeah.
Which is a comp version.
Which I'm not necessarily against. I mean, it was a comp weapon, and while I hate playing PvP and comp in general, I'm also not against, locking certain weapons behind PvP too. I mean, if it's a PvP weapon, I wholly say lock it behind PvP. If it's one I really want, I'll bite the bullet, and I think anybody else who wants to too should also bite the bullet. Same for PvE. Anything that's a good PvE weapon, or, anything like, I got no problem locking things behind certain activities, or certain kinds of activities that are, skill-based. Like Grandmasters, I got no problem having, adept weapons locked behind Grandmasters. There should be some kind of reward for doing that. Same with comp. There should be some rewards for doing that. That's, my trials to go and flawless. That kind of thing, I'm totally on board for that. Even if it's something that annoys me, if I gotta play comp to get that not forgotten, I will play comp until my eyes bleed and I get the roll I want.
Then again, let's be real. What is a comp not forgotten, a new version of not forgotten, gonna have that you can't just go and do 50 waves of onslaught for?
True, but they're more likely to just have additional perks on there or swap some perks up. Like, I assume if we take Luna's Howl as a base, then they're probably gonna have just some different perk combinations out there that we wouldn't be able to get on the Luna's Howl, kind of like they do for kind of like how they do with raid weapons. I mean, for example, Rufus's Fury. I think the seasonal weapon when that raid came out, Root of Nightmares, one of the weapons you can get from Root of Nightmares is called Rufus's Fury. It can roll with two perks that are very much desired in separate columns, Hatchling and Demolitionist. Well, the seasonal weapon that season was also a strand auto rifle, but it could only roll with those perks in the same column. You can only have one or the other. So, having things like that, the raid, the comps, it's typically you're going to be getting perks that, one, you don't normally have access to, or that are going to be in different columns. So you can have, those awesome perks in separate columns instead of having to choose one or the other. So that would be what I assume they would do with Not Forgotten. Whether or not they have perks in the column separate to make it worth it or not will be a different story, though.
Maybe.
Because right now, I'm thinking for my Luna's Howl, I'm thinking definitely Magnificent Howl and Heal Clip. I mean, they both basically proc off of reloading and getting kills. That looks like it might, for me, be the gotta roll for it. But, well, I don't know. I don't PvP at all. I'm thinking PvE.
Mm-hmm. I think, if memory serves, the original Not Forgotten, I think what it offered to players back then was this slightly reduced reload speed, but the trade-off was a humongous amount of range compared to the original Luna's Howl. And the original Luna's Howl had drop mag when drop mag was actually terrible, was a terrible perk.
Yeah. So, this week we basically talked about again, you're right, the mission we were going to be getting. We talked about the exotic missions coming back, a couple exotic missions. That's going to be the Whisper and the Zero Hour coming back. Of course, that are going to be giving us craftable versions of the Whisper the Worm and the Outbreak Perfected. Now, I'm glad the missions are coming back. I don't necessarily care about us getting craftable versions, just because typically when we get exotics, there's only really one set of perks you're going to want to put on them anyway. It kind of feels like, we got some craftable options that kind of do different things. We can play along with our range a little bit, or our magazine, but overall, for the most part, it's not usually too crazy as far as our options. Maybe it'll be different here. We did get a flash of the perks we could actually get on some of the weapons. I didn't look at it too much, but to me, it always feels like we don't have nearly as many options for the exotics as we do the legendaries, and that feels like, for the exotics, we should have probably a bigger pool for perks than the legendary ones, just because they're exotic. We should get a bigger pool, not a smaller one. The smaller ones, to me, feel like we're kind of being shoehorned into choosing what the obvious meta is going to be for that weapon. Maybe that's just me.
Maybe so for the primaries, but for Whisper, there's a lot of options that you can take. There's like, if you want no distractions with max stability, so that you never miss your shot because you're impossible to be flinched off target. There's one like maybe you don't trust your ability to proc the white nail, so let's put max reload on it with flared magwell. So there's, at least for Whisper the Worm, there are more greater customization capabilities. But for Outbreak, it really depends on whether or not you want rapid hit or rewind rounds.
Yeah, I'm pulling up now. Just had it. Obviously can't do anything with the exotic perks on there. The stocks, like I said, it's all, there we go. The magazine perks are going to be a little bit different on there you can choose from. So it's really going to be, like you said, rewind rounds or rapid hit. We got there we go. We got Hit Seeker is one of the perks you got in there. Rewind rounds, rapid hit, and then I think the first one is Outlaw. So
yeah, the gun comes standard with Outlaw, so that's kind of like the default perk on it. So
yeah.
I don't really count it. So
yeah, I'm thinking. I mean, for that one, it seems like rewind rounds would be the big one to do. But like I said, we'll see how it ends up working out. Obviously, to me, those perks aren't necessarily ones that are going to make or break the gun. You can pretty much choose any of them, in my opinion. It's going to perform pretty much the same. Now, in PvP, yeah, it'll be different, but I'm thinking, like I said, I'd come strictly from a PvE background. So maybe this is probably all stuff that makes a huge difference in PvP. So I don't want to discount that. But for PvE, I don't see most of this having too much of an impact. Pretty much most ammo is going to be the way to go. Quick reload for Outbreak, and you're good to go. Whisper, that one will be probably a little bit more interesting for me to see just how many rounds we can get down. Because I know that has been putting out some pretty good damage. I actually did a raid with somebody using that here recently, and they out DPS'd everybody on Golgoroth and on Orcs.
Golgoroth, name a more iconic duo. Golgoroth and Black Hammer, Black Spindle, Whisper of the Worm. That was literally the DPS strat in D1. And it looks like it's this. The tale is old as time.
When I hear Black Spindle, I immediately picture trying to hit the War Priest head and not miss my shots proccing in Destiny 1. It's back in the days before Divinity 2, so you really had to aim for the head too. Even to this day, even if I see a div bubble up, I just instinctively try to go for the head. Just because on War Priest, I'm like,
Technically, you should go for crit shots with div, because apparently they made it so that if you hit somebody while they're being debuffed by Divinity, you also get increased crit damage as well. So on top of the debuff from the div, so it kind of compounds on itself.
Yeah.
Like, yes, you can go for the body for the easy crit, or you actually go for the actual crit while Divinity's going, and you get even more damage out.
No, I like to make things difficult for myself, so that's why probably why I make Destiny 2 content. But what else do we got here? One thing we did talk about, and this is one that I was kind of worried about. Hopefully, they didn't overdo it. They did retune the missions to kind of play around our power and our new toolkit. So I was worried about that. I don't know how bad it's going to be, but they did talk about how they retooled it. They didn't talk too much about it. Like about half the stream, and again, this was an hour-long stream. About half the stream, again, could have just been cut out. They talked about how, like, the development processes of these missions, back when they originally were created, which would be cool to hear when they originally created, but I don't want to hear that for this. But, for some people it might be cool. But they did talk about how they went ahead, they didn't want to overtune it and let us still use some of our abilities, like, when we're getting chased and Outbreak Perfected, we're going to be able to sword skate to an extent. We're going to be able to use our grapples to kind of outrun the robot. But we're not going to be able to just, get out of the air. We're still going to have to do the mechanics a bit. So they did tune it a bit. I don't know what all they could have done except make the enemies harder, though, put more in there. What do you think?
They did say that they actually changed how the boss encounters at the end of these missions actually worked, and to be fair, they kind of need to change those boss encounters. They weren't really, even back then when we were at the current power levels that we had back then for those perspective eras, they weren't really that much of an issue. Besides, maybe Whisper, because there was no way you could realistically survive the onslaught outside without using this, because Whisper came out before Well of Radiance was a thing, or even Bubble Titan in general.
I thought we had Bubble.
No, we had bubble. Oh yeah, we did have bubble, but
we started with bubble. We started with bubble and well. Well, wasn't
yeah,
really a new thing.
we had bubble and or sentinel, and that's it. And we had to choose one or the other, and most people choose bubble, but bubble didn't really do much as it does right now. Right now, if you really want your big DPS damage, you need to put a bubble.
Yeah.
Or radiance technically is lower than weapons of light, but the thing is that weapons of light doesn't provide the instant heal that well provides.
And you got to dip in and out of it too. Versus will, you just stand in it, and it's a little less work you got to do. You just stand there and forget about it until you go against Crota and you realize, oh, it's gone, and you just got yourself bodied because you didn't move. But yeah, that's.
Yeah, but that's that. Even now, the new Crota doesn't really care if you have a well or a bubble down. He's gonna pop it regardless.
Yeah, it's good stuff. So they did that. They retuned them. They did move all the secrets, which I kind of expected. I was 50-50 on. I thought they might leave it where they're at, but then I thought they might go ahead and change it. They did confirm they moved the secrets. The timers, the regular timer is going to be 40 minutes. The legend timer is going to be 20. And they did say they're going to have new ships for both missions. So if you're looking to get the old ships, unfortunately, you're not going to be getting those. We're going to be getting new versions of those old ships. So you're going to be getting new ones. I never got the one from. Now here, this is where I'm probably going to make up here. I never got to play 0 Hour. I did Whisper like crazy. I never got to play 0 Hour. So this will be the first time for me to play that. Whisper I played the hell out of, and I got the ship. But I never got to play 0 Hour, so I'm never going to get that ship, but I will get to play 0 Hour finally.
To be fair, you're not really, at least for the 0 Hour ship, you're not really missing much. You're really not, so unless broken hunks of metal are your speed, if you're really into stuff that literally came out of the Fallout games, then unless that's your speed, you're not really missing much.
I mean, I've got like every Fallout game since. That might be a little bit more speed than So from Fallout 2 on, I've got them all. So that'll tell you that. But it's got to look good too. I don't like asymmetrical stuff. It just bugs me. My OCD can't handle it. So it's not symmetrical. Probably won't like it.
Possibly. What else? They did make it so that so all the old guides that are probably on YouTube from like 6 years ago about these missions are going to be outdated as hell. So there is an avenue of opportunity for you in the future for guides.
Am I going to get off my ass to make a Destiny guide for something? I'll make build videos. I haven't really made a guide yet. Maybe I can make a guide for 0 Hour or Whisper. Probably Whisper before 0 Hour. I can do Whisper pretty easily. 0 Hour is I have to learn it for a bit. We'll see if I got time to do it though. But
bring your stompies. That's all I'm going to say.
Nah, stompies for bitches. I'll bring my Strand Hunter. Strand Hunter and maybe the mountaintop with the grenade jump. Or do that one. I refuse to use the stompies just because. Gosh, I remember doing that during Whisper of the Worm. Had to put that on, getting through there just to make it a little bit easier.
Oh yeah,
Let's see. We did get told there's going to be more info coming out on April 30th about the final shape.
Something.
Yeah, I wasn't quite there. I'm saving that one for last. So Final Shape, we're going to get some more gameplay for Final Shape. Not to say Final Shape, we're going to get... It's been a long day. April 30th, we're going to get more gameplay for Final Shape. We're probably going to get more information.
We're getting it... correction. Sorry. We're getting it next week.
Next week? Sorry.
So just before Into the Light releases next week, there's going to be a smaller live stream.
Okay.
That's going to be a gameplay preview of the Final Shape. So while we're waiting for Destiny 2 to update for Into the Light, you have at least 30 or 40 minutes to see some gameplay for Final Shape. So, no. And if you're still missing out on the on the Into the Light emblems for Twitch drops, you will have another chance with this live stream to get those last bit percentages to get those emblems done.
Now,
as well as a brand new emblem that's going to be exclusive for the upcoming Twitch stream. So we could, if you want to, before we start playing the hell out of Into the Light, do another live stream for that gameplay reveal if you want.
We could, but by the time I'm off work, I'll be playing before we have a time to do it. But we could play while we're talking about it, so we could do that.
True.
Because I get off work at 7, and we do these at 10, so I'm definitely going to be playing between that time before we do it. So, yeah, we could definitely do something and film something while we're actually playing the new, event and talk about what we saw. Because there's also some additional stuff coming out with that as well next week. 3 new things that are coming out that we knew about. One I didn't know about, 2 we didn't know about. The 2 we knew about, we're going to get a name change token. So we're going to be able to change your name again, which I guess if you want to change your name, go ahead. I'm keeping mine.
It's mostly for those that are still have like Guardian and a bunch of numbers. That's their actual name. I see you, Guardian 42060.
I mean, I'd keep that one. 69, 42069, yeah, you'd keep that one. Any other version you get rid of, though. You'll also finally be able to change your character's look. They did talk about that a while ago. Looks like we're getting that next week, so you're going to be able to change just your facial look, but I don't think you can change your race, though.
You can't change your race, but you can change whether or not your character is has a masculine form or a feminine form. And also, they actually accelerated that. That thing should have released with the final shape they mentioned. So
I think they pulled over some of the smaller stuff from final shape just to kind of help with Into the Light. The stuff that was done and they can kind of pull over now. I think they're pulling some of that stuff over to kind of help.
True, it's like some of the PvP balancing has been, some of it, not all of it, has been pulled from final shape into like right now, what's coming up soon. So so they have been like, if it doesn't break the game, bring it in.
And then finally, the thing that is new that we didn't know about, and that is going to be, you will now be able to skip the entire tutorial as a new light. In fact, you can skip the tutorial, pick up the Thunder God box, and yeah, basically get right to power level to do whatever you want in the game. I got mixed feelings on that one, honestly. I got mixed feelings, but it's gonna,
same.
It's gonna end up with a, go ahead.
But yeah, I'll be honest, I'm not really like thrilled about that, because you're just gonna make people who play this game, who make new lights, who have zero idea what the hell's going on narrative-wise, even more confused, because you just gave them an out to skip your poorly designed, poorly narrated intro for
tutorial. Yeah.
So your tutorial, you're just giving them the out for them to skip your tutorial, just because maybe their friend who's a veteran at this game is gonna help them, guide them through the first few hours. Like, yeah, it's kind of like.
I don't understand who this is for, to be honest, because you're right. I mean, you're not going to learn how to play your Guardian. I mean, yeah, you're going to be at light to do stuff, but if you're jumping in the game, you're not doing stuff with the in-game players quite yet. I mean, yeah, you can probably stomp around, but there are going to be very few people who are going to be able to use this the way I think they're intending. What I think is going to end up happening is that they may not realize is that all this is going to do is help cheaters in the game. It's going to help people that are coming in and cheating in trials come in, get the power level on new accounts, and if it gets banned, oh well, new account, and then come back in and do it over again at level much easier. I don't think they thought that one through.
Well, for comp cheaters is going to be a problem no matter what.
Well, and I normally want to
trials cheaters though, that's going to be a bit of an issue, because for trials you do need you do need to buy like the expansion plus the active season to even play trials.
No, some people will do that.
Yeah, no, they make so much money that they can actually afford to keep spending $60 plus 60 to 70 on Lightfall plus a brand new the most recent season.
Which is insane. I mean, if I'm going to do that, I'll do it on a season that matters, like, Witch Queen, but not Lightfall. But
no, because that's how the Bungie made it. So that
I know.
You need the most recent expansion plus the most recent season to even play trials. So comp might be screwed, but let's be honest. Outside of maybe the 3 outside of the 3 weekly comp matches that you do one might do
For Binnacle, yeah.
Is anybody really going to go after Ascendant for the fake internet points?
True. Now, I will say this. The biggest issue I've got with this always comes back to the fact that Red War is not in the game. I'm still a huge proponent of when you start a game, you should have to play it from the beginning. Now, you obviously can't do that here with Destiny 2 because they got rid of all that old content. This just seems to compound that issue more. I mean, not only did they get rid of that old content, but now even what they did put in the game to kind of help new players understand how the game works, which, like you said, is pretty shitty, they've even gone ahead and given you the ability to skip that as well. It's just more... It's going to be rough, especially with the LFG now, too. This is chaos at this point. This is going to be chaos. Part of me is interested to see how this works. Now, again, I'm not saying that, you should be able to come in and play the game, but I am saying you should at least have to go through, play the base story and understand how the character works. Now, I understand if for some reason, I guess even if you switch systems, I think it's got cross-save too, so I can't really think of a situation to where a veteran player would be coming back and not have their own account unless they got banned for something, in which case you're banned and shouldn't be doing this anyway. So I really can't think of any real situation where somebody should be coming in, getting right to, power level, unless you're coming in to test something, or unless you're doing some kind of test with a new account as, a content creator or something. I can't think of too many scenarios where this is actually going to make sense or be really utilized correctly, I guess. I think it'll be utilized, but I don't think it's going to really do anybody any good. I think you're going to get to power level and then still not be able to raid, still not be able to do dungeons, still not really understand what's going on with the story, even less so now. And now they're at power level and they're trying to do raids and dungeons and people are like, you have no idea what you're doing. And they're just getting upset and it comes back to them saying, hey, the raid community is toxic and all this. I'm like, the raid community is not toxic. Usually, don't get me wrong, we can be bad sometimes. But the raid community has an active community, and there are some, unwritten rules that, you need to abide by. Mainly being, if someone's asking you to, know what to do in a raid, you need to actually know what to do. That's not a toxic thing. And if you don't and you lie about it, you get kicked. I think that might happen a little bit more. And I say that as somebody who regularly goes into LFGs just to fuck around and help people. It happens quite a bit more than you think.
And also, as a new light, if you do manage to skip the tutorial and get up to power with the Gift of the Thunder Gods that they're offering for free, if memory serves, the Gift of the Thunder Gods just puts you at level and gives you Thunderlord as your exotic. A lot of hardcore the PvE crowd, including those who scour LFG, will probably look at somebody rocking Thunderlord with no catalyst and think scrub.
Yeah, like this
noob.
person's definitely new.
Like someone used the Gift of the Thunder Gods. You're a scrub. We're not going to bring you in.
I wouldn't even necessarily say scrub. I mean, just new and inexperienced. I mean, I got no problem with somebody new playing, but you need to at least learn your character first, too. Like, I had no problem taking somebody in who's only been playing for a week. If you learn your character, I'm not even saying you have to look up builds. If you played your character, you've done some missions, you've got a good idea, even knowing what your super does. If you're coming into the game, you have no idea what your super even does. Even having spent the week in the game playing, understanding how the ammunition system works, basic stuff like that, understanding what DPS phases are. A lot of the stuff, there is a lot to go into raiding and, dungeons. And that can be explained pretty easily, but I can't sit there and tell you how to, use your own class or what some basic mechanics of the game are. Like, stuff like that, that's not going to help with this. Now, and again, I understand I'm probably being a little bit pessimistic, but this is also me just thinking, again, I don't understand who this skip is really for. I mean, if you're a new light and you've never played the game before, do you really want to skip? Or, like you said, maybe you got a buddy who's going to help you through. Okay, he'll help you through. Is he going to teach you every aspect of your character? Maybe, maybe not. I don't see this really being used that way most of the time, but I'm torn because I'm not necessarily against people having options too when they come in. It's just a very weird option, a very weird place they put it, but this is also one of those situations to where it's weird because of what they did in the past, and that is getting rid of all the old content that would have, made everybody happy to still have it and would alleviate all these issues. So it's just, no matter what they do at this point, they're going to be screwed because of the situation that they put themselves in. So,
yeah. And before we continue on, let's mention that the Whisper mission will be available at launch next week. However, the 0 hour will be released probably early May.
I missed that part, so more time getting, yeah. Although, if I'm being perfectly honest, I care about I care about Whisper more than 0 hour, but that's only because I played that one and I like kind of the darker setting, so that's the only reason
pretty
I say
sure.
that.
I'm pretty sure the reason they have it scheduled like that is because they're probably going to make it so that the weekly exotic mission is going to be Whisper all the time to give people enough time to run it 3 times on Legend to get the catalyst parts.
Assuming that's how it's going to work, although I got no reason to think it's not. I'm assuming you're going to have to run it on Legend to get your catalyst, too.
Yeah. No, normal to get the weapon, and Legend to get the catalyst. But Legend's going to be harder, and it's going to have the original timer for both of them, which is 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's good stuff. So as far as my notes go, that's most of everything I had on there except for the thing we haven't talked about yet and the PvP maps. I've had the PvP maps playing in the background. You're looking at one right here that looks like it takes place. I think it's on a pyramid. It's where the traveler hit the pyramid. You can see all the weird architecture here. There's
basically Root of Nightmares ship.
The first
but
one,
instead of being on Neomuna, it's on Earth's orbit.
Yeah.
I guess.
First one here, it looks like it's on Europa. You got the icy area. They did say that they had comp in 3 versus 3 in mind when they were doing these, although this is clearly control points on here. So it's kind of weird. They said they had comp in mind, but I see control points. So I'm not sure how that one works.
Because the current trial setup is actually control points.
Is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah, they have, it's been a while at least, like maybe 6 to 8 months since they switched from elimination to Dominion, which is basically just zone control but with extra steps.
I'm trying to think of the last time I actually did a PvP mission, and I literally can't remember when it was or what it was for.
Chaperone, maybe, but even then, you could probably just complete those steps in Gambit because technically is a PvP game mode.
No, I don't like shotguns. I think Chaperone is not one that I got it, but it's not one that I would have done. I literally can't remember when the last time I think it might have been. I remember. I know I got Thorn pretty easily. I remember. I think it was one of the Iron Banners last year that had an armor piece I wanted. I think that might have been it. I think when that Iron Banner sword came out, I think that's what it was.
I actually miss Iron Banner weekly quests because it actually gave you a reason to play Iron Banner.
Mm.
Right now, Iron Banner's going on right now this week, and I'm like, no, absolutely not. Yeah. Give me my quest that gives me guaranteed loot after each step that kind of forces me to use different weapons.
Yeah,
I actually like that quest structure where you could totally see what weapon everyone's using. It was like, okay, this guy is stuck on the scout rifle's quest step, so that's why he's using Brandy's throwing knife. Oh, this guy's using basically barrel stuffing me with a shotgun. He's probably on the shotgun portion of his quest line.
See,
so he kind of like.
I never got through one of those quests. I never got through an Iron Banner full quest.
Yeah, basically they were just like weekly quests that gave you like guaranteed like pinnacle level gear. So if you were so that's what the main purpose of Iron Banner really is, a way for anybody who's kind of like who can't get into a raid on a particular week, they can just go to Iron Banner and just kind of power up that way. But when everyone's at level right now, everyone's already at the pinnacle, except maybe the odd new light here and there. But other than that, there really isn't a reason for you to play Iron Banner.
All right, now in the background right now, this is one I'm actually, and again, you guys can hear just how little I care about PvP, but this kind of excites me. There's the Neomuna map that in the background, the vertical one. This one actually excites me because this reminds me of an old Halo map. I forgot, I want to say it was ODST. I can't remember which one it was, but it's the one, it's a Halo where they first came out with jetpacks and the overshield. There was a vertical map like this in Halo, and I love the hell out of it. This reminds me of it.
I don't know the name. I because I never really played Halo back in the day, but I do remember the map that you're referring to, and I really like. Since I already dig the aesthetic of Neomuna, the fact that A point is a bar and C flag is literally an arcade in a literal shopping mall. That's kind of cool.
Yep, this is a really cool map. I like it. I might hop in. I wish we had, map choice, obviously. I think that's something that people have been wanting for a while, but...
Oh, yeah, and speaking of they did mention that, I think, at the tail end of, like, in the beginning of... The maps won't be at released. They will be probably at the same time that 0 Hour is released, like sometime in May. These maps will be available. Will be in the rotation for most PvP game modes, and they will have their own separate 3v3 playlist where the only thing you're going to be playing is
those
3v3 on those 3 maps.
Okay, that'll be pretty cool. I might hop on that one. And it's also kind of easy to tell that they're really trying to stretch out the content they got between now and Final Shape because... Again, this is an expansion, but they're stretching all this content out. First, the time gating. It's still technically time gated. It's just going to be at the end of the month instead of, one thing released every week. Now we're getting half of it now, next week and half of it on the 30th. So it's pretty clear, but I don't know. It is what it is. It's all cool, but it's hard to get excited for something like Into the Light releases on the 9th. You're going to get most of your stuff on the 30th. What the fuck, bro? But it is what it is. I got a feeling a lot of stuff till it isn't finished too, which is why I think a lot of this is still being pushed. I think they're still polishing up a little bit of this. I hope the weapons are done. Wonder maybe.
Oh, the weapons are probably done. The thing is though that let's be honest here, a wave defense mode and 3 PvP maps. That's it.
Yeah, basically.
That's literally it.
Yeah. And again, the maps are new, so I'm not upset. I'm sure the PvP community is happy about the new maps. Maybe not that it's going to be 3 versus 3. I'd still rather have the 6-on-6. But, new maps are cool. I do also know that they want the old maps back as well. But, it is nice to have some new maps finally.
To be fair, some of those maps weren't really, like, the end-all be-all. So I'm pretty sure if someone decides to mention any of the... any trials of the 9 maps that basically was a giant L, and basically scout rifles were the meta there. Most PvP players would be like, nope, get that evil out of here.
I'm a scout rifle lover, so it don't sound like a wet dream to me, but... as far as everything that's released, like you said, it's just going to be that one new event and 3 PvP maps, except for the last thing that's on here. So I'll let you go ahead and announce this one.
Bungie at the end of the live stream teased something that is also releasing at the beginning of when was it? They announced that this thing was going to be.
I thought that the 30th.
Let me look. Yeah, they announced it, but they didn't mention when is it going to drop. The Pantheon, what they call Pantheon, which is, for lack of a better word, raid boss rush.
So it looks like we're going to get basically raid boss after raid boss. They didn't really give us much more details than that. They said it's a Pantheon. They said it's going to be a raid boss rush. And then that's all they really told us. There was no info. They didn't really say what raid bosses would be. Are they going to be just final bosses? Are they going to be random bosses? What is it? They didn't really tell us anything.
Most likely it's going to be final bosses only. Oh yeah, it will be available on the 30th. More details will be available in an upcoming this week in Destiny, or the TWAB, as we call it.
Yep.
And it will have an escalating challenge and weekly rewards that you will have chances to get their respective exotics, adepts, and old emblems. That seems very interesting. That tells me, old emblems. The fact that they mentioned old emblems and and I'm pretty sure the raid community will be angry if it's day one raid emblems. But
it won't be day one, so it won't be.
No, it will probably
maybe Sherpas, but that wouldn't make sense either.
This is my theory. Let's discuss this. they're not bringing back any other old raids, any D2 raids, because they're gonna put the final bosses in this Pantheon thing. They're gonna bring back Callus Bot and Insurrection Prime, Galran from Crown of Sorrow, Valkaur from Spire of Stars, the Argos.
Makes sense with the old emblems coming in, because as of right now, every raid that's out right now, the emblems are still gettable. I mean, except for the day one raids or the day one emblems, which you only get day one or day 1 or 2 now.
Day 1 or week 1, basically.
The Sherpa emblems, which you can only get till the end of the year. So I think as of right now, all the Sherpa emblems have been locked out. So unless you've got them now, you can't get the Sherpa emblems. So the only old emblems that you can't get are going to be anything you can earn for like master stuff or. Yeah, it would have to be old raid stuff. It'd have to be bringing back old raids or old raid bosses.
Yeah, and let's be honest. Outside of Leviathan, if most people remember Valkaur from Spire of Stars because he's the main focal point of that raid in particular. The reason why people think fondly of Scourge of the past is because of Insurrection Prime.
Yeah.
At the end, so I'm pretty sure they're probably not going to bring the full raid, just the raid boss himself. They're probably going to put like this, like they kind of mentioned the exotics, so your Anarchies, Legend of Acreus, and some other weapon, and they also mentioned Adepts, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, that tells me master stuff. So they said escalating challenge, so maybe it's going to get harder and harder. You do so many ways, you can get adepts, or there might be a master mode where you can go in and get adept drops when you do this.
Yeah.
Which is also going to be something else, too, because if it's only raid bosses, my one worry is going to be Riven, taking care of Riven. I don't see that going well at all.
Yeah, because 90% of the Destiny 2 player population doesn't do Riven legit.
No idea how to do it legitimately the right way.
The six people who do that legit, we salute you.
Yeah.
And we hope we never see you in LFG.
Imagine if they made it to where you can't beat it unless you do it correctly. That's pretty much going to be the stop for every raid or rush if they do that. The other option here, too, is maybe not just the final bosses, but only actual boss encounters. So, for example, the bosses from damn Oryx, maybe they might have, the War Priest encounter, the Sisters Golgoroth and Oryx, but not the totems. Maybe that one won't be in there, and it'll just be those could
probably
pop up.
Yeah, I do agree with that strategy that not but from at least from the sunsetted raids, they're just going to bring back the final boss for each of those raids because Leviathan only has one actual boss, and it's the Callus Bot at the end. For the raid lairs, it's Argos. I
remember complaining about that first raid too. There were no bosses; it was all just a bunch of. I hated that first raid so much when it first came out. Because that's the first raid we got in Destiny 2, and that's when we found out how they changed the raids in Destiny 2, too, and I hate it. I still hate those changes. For those who don't know, in Destiny 1, we didn't have, for normal mode at least, there was no res token. We could res as many times as we want, and Warlocks could self-res. And on top of that, there was no res timer either, so you didn't have to have everybody up. You could literally, if you were the last person standing and you could complete the raid in an hour, you could do it. So those changes... The two changes that were made that I personally didn't like. I know a lot of people didn't like. We're used to it now, but those were the big changes from Destiny 1 to Destiny 2. The raid token system and that, down timer. Those were two pretty severe changes.
Yeah, for as much as we hate... Here's the thing. As much as we hate the res token system, at least now when you do die, at least you have a chance to come back in hard mode in Destiny 1, you're out. If you're out, you're out. If you were unlucky enough to die from that one drag in Wrath of the Machine, you're basically just standing, looking at your ghost or looking at your friends complete the activity while you're sitting there doing absolutely nothing. So that's kind of boring.
Yeah, this is like a meet in the middle type thing what we got now. It's not quite as difficult as the hard mode is, but it's still a lot harder or a lot more stuff involved in the regular mode in Destiny 1.
And also, they kind of the budget has designed most of the raids from Leviathan onwards to make it so that if you're doing it solo, you need to have some serious thumb skill and knowledge. There's unless it's Root of Nightmares. Apparently, a lot of people can solo Root of Nightmares with zero issue.
Yeah, I'll try that one. No, I'm never gonna try that one.
Hell, nah.
But yeah, that was pretty much everything for that one. I mean, and again, I'd say the criticism for the stream is that they take a little bit of information, they stretch it out over an hour. I mean, again, this all could have been done in 10 minutes. I get they're trying to fill the time, but I mean, that does leave us with a lot of them talking about really nothing that's pertinent. I mean, they really went over. I mean, yeah, I guess it's good, lore stuff. I mean, how they came up with their inspirations, how they came up with the names of stuff. But I mean, for the most part, all it really was is, hey, here's 3 new PvP maps, and we're bringing back these missions that you guys have already done before with a couple of twists, which is fine and all, but that's all it's really boiled down to. And then, of course, we got stuff not only to the 30th, and of course, we got the gauntlet, or the boss gauntlet, which we really got no information about, which again makes me think that they really just don't have it fully fleshed out yet. I think there might be something wrong with it, because I mean, if they really wanted to get everybody hyped up about it, they probably would have mentioned it in this stream, which is, I kind of realized that just now. If they had more information, they probably would have showed us, and they probably would have said it here to get us hyped up about it, because right now they're trying to get us as hyped up as possible for Into the Light, to get us hyped up for Final Shape. I think there might be something going on with that boss rush. So I think they either may not have it fully fleshed out. I think they maybe don't have rewards for it, or I think they're maybe messing with the system. I don't know what they're going to do between now and the 30th to get that fixed, but I think there may be actually something wrong with it, or that they're still working on it.
I'm thinking they're they're trying to let the whole onslaught pan out and see where the dust settles on that by the time the 30th hits, and then release this Pantheon boss rush thing to kind of like, by the time the 30th hits, most of us will probably either have all of the weapons with the little unique ornament on them with our god rolls, waiting for Final Shape to enhance them, and some people would just be like, I got my stuff, I'm out, see you later. And this Pantheon thing was gonna bring people back for that last month between May and June.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If they want people to come back for that last month, more information would probably be the one to do that. I mean, right now, just saying, hey, we got a Pantheon coming out. Okay, yeah, whatever. I'm going to go in and grind. But if we know exactly what we got coming up, that to me, if I know exactly what the Pantheon is, it's something that we want to do, then I'm going to be all the more motivated to go through and grind out, not just to prepare for it, but to get these cool weapons that are going to be coming out that we know are going to have some pretty good power to them. I mean, we're getting Recluse with the Master of Realms perk, and I did go through and check some of the perks on the weapons. I mean, it did come with the perks we wanted. It does got the repulsor brace, and it's got the destabilizing rounds on it. And you're going to have to choose between either destabilizing rounds or Master of Arms, but that's pretty much exactly what we wanted. I mean, some of these rolls they got are going to be pretty crazy. Speaking on that, Bungie did sunsetting to reduce power creep, and they just decided to make the most power creepy weapons ever designed for a modern Destiny. Yeah,
every single weapon, whether you like it or not, it's going to be the best in slot for a lot of builds, for a lot of people. These are the must-haves at this point.
And what's funny is it didn't really take much to... we're probably just going to be talking about weapons here. What's crazy is, really when you think about it, they didn't have to do much to make these weapons powerful. Like, going through looking at the rolls, they didn't really have to do much. They didn't really have to give them anything too crazy. Like, let's take Recluse, for example. Even assuming we got Master of Arms at full power, and I don't think it will be at full power, but even assuming that we got that, the other two perks
they actually nerfed it.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure they nerfed it. But looking at that...
No, they nerfed it even further for this new one.
Well, I mean, like I'm saying, even if it was at full power, I would still have to make a choice between that and destabilizing rounds just because, 100 bit I could easily turn invisible for. I mean, some of the stuff we got in here, just some simple perks, have really turned the meta around or, what really is powerful. I mean, yeah, technically speaking, you could get the exact same rope for Recluse, but at this point, some of the simple perks we got, you kind of ask yourself, like, why would I want to do that, though? I mean, I got Repulsor Brace, and I've got destabilizing rounds. I could easily blow everything up now with some perks you can get on pretty much anything. I mean, I would really, again, if it was at full power, I know it's not, I know it's been nerfed a lot, I would have to sit there and think, okay, do I want Master of Arms on here, or do I want destabilizing rounds? And honestly, I think I probably have to go with destabilizing rounds, at least for my Hunter. My Hunter would have its own Recluse with that specific role. For everybody else, maybe something different. Because I do got a couple different hand cannons. I got one specifically for my Warlock and one for my Hunter. For my Warder Crota, I'd probably have to do the same thing for my Recluse. But I mean, it doesn't take a whole lot with the current perks we got to make those weapons, top tier again. So yeah, we had power creep before, or we got power creep, but once we knew that those little weapons, if they were to be brought back today in this form as they were before, they would not be up to snuff, or they'd be just like average weapons. So yeah, they were good for their time. They power crept a bit, but it did not take very long for those weapons to become obsolete. Even if they hadn't got sunsetted, they still would have been obsolete pretty quickly.
Yeah.
I know. So it's just something to think about. Like I said, I'm thinking about some of the, like I'm looking at this footage right now. I'm thinking Lunas Howe. I'm like, this guy, he doesn't have the role I want to use, but I'm like, why is Hill Clip not working? I'm like, oh, he probably doesn't have Hill Clip on right now. That's why. That's what I'm excited to use, a Hill Clip and Magnificent Howl combination.
Yeah, or for anybody, for a Solar Titan, Heel Clip Incandescent.
Oh, that's gonna be crazy.
With Loreley's helmet, and be unkillable.
And it's like you said, I mean, they took the weapons that they got rid of for power creep and immediately put them right back on top again, and it didn't take much. So imagine if they had never gotten rid of those weapons and they didn't have to go through and reissue them again, then those weapons would just be, long forgotten, and they would be, they were great at one point, but now they got to bring them back and it's automatically top of the game too. So I guess it works out for us in the end that we're getting the weapons back in, stronger states than they were before. Doesn't mean that sunsetting didn't suck, but it does mean that we do get some new issued weapons that are going to have the new rules on it, are going to be stronger than they were before. Now, they may have reissued them again anyway at some point, but, I mean, we are getting some of the ones that were just really dependent. I mean, Recluse and Mountaintop by themselves pretty much carried a lot of seasons.
The majority of Forsaken and Shadowkeep was literally, unless you were forced off Mountaintop Recluse because of the introduction of champions in Shadowkeep, you were basically, for the most part, crazy glued to Mountaintop Recluse Anarchy. That was your bread and butter for 90% of the game. It didn't really kind of like back in D1. It was Fatebringer, Black Hammer, Black Spindle, one of the two. Doesn't really matter. And Galahorn if you were using Black Hammer instead of Black Spindle.
Yeah.
And Hunger of Crota if you were using Black Spindle. Those were your bread and butter back then. Your bread and butter in D2 were basically Mountaintop Recluse Anarchy.
Yep, and PvP Not Forgotten, or Lunas Howl if you don't have Not Forgotten. I mean, those are... And Mountaintop still, so...
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all the stream. Like I said, there was not a ton what information they had. It did spread out, but we are going to get some good stuff. I'm still more excited about the weapons than anything. Like I said, the Pantheon, right now, to me, it's going to be all about grinding up the weapons for the Pantheon. That's what all these updates say to me. That's what all this, these events are going to be for me. Yeah, it's just going to be getting the new weapons to take on what I do, and that is raids. And that is, I'm going to be farming specifically to take on whatever the hell this Pantheon is.
And I sure as hope among them is Nezarec, and like that can get conditional finality. Jesus Christ!
I think I'm still only missing the Hierarchy of Needs. I think I'm still here, and I just haven't gone back and done that damn dungeon. Like I could probably do it tonight, But I'm playing Dragon's Dogma 2, so I haven't jumped in.
We will reconvene for that maybe for a weekend because I may or may not try and rope in a certain road,
a certain house every now,
a certain fan of a man known as Patrick Swayze.
That man is he likes him a little bit too much, but yeah, that definitely need to hop in and get that one. There's still so much I need to do in the game, and it's just. I tell you what, though, I've gotten a lot more subs here lately playing, and I am enjoying it, but I just have not time to hop in Destiny 2. Part of it's just because I know we got stuff coming out, so I don't want to hop in now and do a bunch of crap that I don't need. Like, I've gotten all the weapons I need from the Grandmaster, so I'm like, I don't feel like farming Grandmasters right now. I'm pretty much just waiting for End of the Light to start, and then hop back in like crazy.
Exactly. That's mostly what I think what most people that are like veterans are going to be doing is just basically getting hyped for the event, for what's upcoming, and not really playing as much, so that when they do play, everything feels a lot more fresher than it actually is.
Yeah, no burnout. There's something new for us to do. We could actually put that time into playing the new event versus whatever weekly crap there is now to do. Like right now, I still haven't even finished my seasonal emblem yet, and I haven't even finished getting my level up to 10 this year. Like, I haven't even got my pinnacles this season. That's how little I've really done as far as getting stuff done. And I've done a lot of Sherpas still, and I still haven't gotten my 2. I think I've gotten 1 out of 2 pinnacles.
I haven't technically finished the seasonal story.
Yeah.
I haven't done the seasonal story. I do show up every now and then to find I went to a weird Discord and I found a dude from Japan who has 2 Destiny 2 bots that hold checkpoints, and I'm just bouncing between them to get spoils and red borders, and that's basically all I'm doing with Destiny.
Yeah, there's a couple that do that. I need to get spoils, so I think there's just one more shotgun. I think the Acris shotgun I need, but I think that might be the last exotic that I'm just missing. But we're basically in a holding pattern until next week when the fun arrives, and luckily one of the weapons that is coming out first is going to be. I think that Mountaintop's in the second wave, isn't it? I know Recluse is in the first wave. I think Mountaintop was the second wave.
I'll be honest, I have not seen the order of release of the weapons.
I gotta go back and double check what that list was, but yeah, basically when it comes out, I mean Recluse is gonna be my main bread and butter right there, just because I play Void everything, and that demolition, that repulsor brace and destabilizing round, and repulsor brace and Master of Arms, I mean, that's going to be what I'm going to be rocking on pretty much every one of my characters, especially my Hunter, for most of what I'm going to be doing here from now on, because it's going to be replacing my hand cannon, it's definitely replacing Funnel Whip, and then it's going to be replacing my hand cannon for most of what I do.
What, Word of Crota?
Yeah, my Word of Crota, I got a repulsor brace and destabilizing on it.
To be fair, you might replace it with Recluse now, but when there is a season that requires hand cannons, you might just swap to that.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's still my main hand cannon, and it still feels really good. I mean, I'll still use Funnel Web every once in a while just because I feel like it shoots forever, but there's nothing like putting on a Word of Crota, and it just feels strong so when you're shooting. Like, you feel like a hunter just pop out, and you're done. The Funnel Web is more like, just kind of spray and pray. But the Hand of Crota, Word of Crota, I mean, it just feels really good to use. So it's still a great weapon. I still love it. I've got, I think, like 10 or 1,000 kills on it at least right now, so it's getting up there. But, it's still my favorite hand cannon by far. I can't think of any hand cannon. I think it was the favorite. No. I don't remember what the last hand cannon I used before this one was that I really liked a lot, but this has definitely been my favorite. I can't wait to get the Funnel Web on there. And, not the Funnel Web, get the, can't think. Talk right. Get that Recluse to start using it again. And hopefully I get a God roll with the special shader on there. We'll see if I get another special ornament.
Yeah. Not only the roll that you want with the special ornament.
Yeah, it's gonna
because you can always get one with the special ornament, but it's gonna be the box standard Feeding Frenzy Master of Arms.
Yeah, super RNG on that one, but they said we should be getting loot rained down on us on this one, so
I mean to be fair, you get separated from your, like, every 5 to 10 waves you get teleported to to a new boss fight during Onslaught, and when you beat that particular boss boss fight, a chest will pop up which will contain one of the weapons.
Yeah, you get that, and you also get that currency where you can turn it in at the new space with the weapons as well. So we're gonna have a lot of ways to get the weapons. So
it really is just a three-person Days of Eternity. If you think about it.
It just depends on how often those, like, if it's like a 1% drop to get that rare version, okay, then we got a problem. I'm just gonna go for the regular one. There's no way I'm farming out that, but we'll see. If it's like a 1% drop chance, probably not. 10%, okay, we can probably work with that. But that's pretty much gonna do it for this week. Like I said, not too much content, but we are pretty much right there at the end. I think if they had more for the Pantheon, they probably would have shown it. I think, like I said, my theory is that they're just something's going on with it. They didn't have quite enough to show there, but we'll probably get more information on that as we go into End of the Light, because we do got that stream next week. Any final thoughts about any of the streams we've seen so far for this?
Not much. Just waiting for it to show up and see what Onplaught's like. Because I'll be honest, I'm kind of interested in see how it plays out. Maybe it's going to be different than playing Warframe Defense, because I'm kind of bored of that.
Yeah, one thing I did notice, I think they did, just from some context clues in one of the streams, I think they mentioned something about the defense target getting destroyed. I think we can continue playing even if it gets destroyed. So maybe it's more, maybe we don't necessarily have to keep that alive, but we get more. I know we get more loot if we keep it alive. So
yeah, they mentioned this, that if you keep it alive, if you keep it all the way through in a 50-wave version of Onslaught, you do get a third chest at the end. Now, if the defense VIP thing, I think it's called the ADU.
Yeah.
If that thing gets destroyed early in the earlier rounds, you won't get the extra chest, but you won't immediately die, because once, like in the later wave, probably wave 30 or something like that, the entire thing becomes a darkness zone, and Extinguish becomes active, which means if it dies, you go to orbit.
Yep. So
So I'm pretty sure at the earliest parts, if it dies, we lost the chance we lost a chance at the third chest. No big deal.
Yeah.
But if you're like in a really good run, and then at the very end someone forgets to kill that one champion, and that one champion nails the ADU so much that it dies,
screwed.
That's gonna sting, because you were doing so well up until that one champion that escaped from your team.
And that's why I hate defense missions. It's not about how well you perform killing enemies. It's about, can you keep the enemies off that one super brittle thing, no matter how good your build is. That's just. But I guess we'll find out here soon enough. I mean, I guess maybe everybody else will feel my pain, or maybe it'll be super durable. Who knows? But that's going to do it for this week, guys. That was the final End of the Light live stream. Like I said, we might just do like a live thing too. I might just broadcast us live playing the event next week too, if you're up for it.
Sure, no problem. Probably.
Right.
I'll be available.
Alright, so Into the Light drops April 9th. The other half of it drops April 30th. So I guess we get a portion A next week. We get to see that small live stream to go over some more information, and then we'll get to actually get our hands on it. Sometime in late afternoon, when I'm sure the servers are actually up and not broken, and whatever update they do, unbreak the servers, because
they're gonna break something. There's no way in hell.
No way you're playing it as soon as it comes out.
But Bungie has been hyping this thing a little bit too well. Those servers are going to be pain.
It's going to be bad, and that's assuming that they haven't gapped up and there's no actual bugs with this release too.
There's always that one. Every single time that they do an update, every now and then there's going to be like a Bungie help tweet saying, yes, it's releasing now, but keep in mind this thing is broken.
It's going to be.
Don't worry about X.
If you log into the tower with this shader on, you won't be able to play trials this weekend, and you're going to have this exotic lot for you for some reason. That's how it usually works.
Basically, like small things, like they'll say like sometimes this quest step will not work.
Yeah.
Please either clear out your cache or something like that to try and make sure that that thing actually works.
And if you've got the Verglass Curve equipped and you triple jump as a hunter, then it's going to crash your game. Try to only double jump instead. It's just some weird shit that'll happen.
Oh, you mean like the people that are using the grind portion of the skimmer to try and basically knock out everybody who was doing patrol?
It's so fucking annoying. I hate that.
I saw that. I never saw someone get kicked like that, but the fact that someone having fun with their skimmer in between loading zones is enough to crash the game.
Yep.
For somebody else.
This is my shocked face. But that'll do it for today, guys. Thank you for coming by. Thank you for coming by again, Hex.
No problem.
Appreciate the input as always. We are going to see you guys next week, and we'll see if Into the Light is worth all the hype. If it's worth the price, which, it's free, so it's really hard to put that one up. But we'll see. It's Bungie. They could do it. And we'll see if all the new weapons are worth the hype. I find it hard to believe that the weapons won't be worth it, but like I said, nothing is out of Bungie's ability to do or fuck up at this point, so we'll see.
Besides power creeping.
Yeah.
They always power creep.
I always do that. So, thank y'all for coming by, and we will see y'all on the next one.
Later.